Merry Christmas. um, this week, I've not been as diligent as I should have been with my cards. I didn't draw one yesterday. We're busy. I actually had a lot of work to do in the mundane world, which kind of is funny because that's a little bit about what this card represents. It's not just about work, but um, so today I just asked the question, um, what do I need to know today? Just because I think the Cali card that is the week that I'm on is the Cali card, destruction, rebirth. Um, that's pretty fucking intense, and I mean, yeah, drawing cards is what I've been doing with my other cards, but I think that card is pretty self-explanatory. That there are things, even things that you love, that you just have to let go of to, or they'll inhibit your spiritual growth. So today, I drew the Eight of Cups, and this card is, again, cups are about your emotions and the what how you feel about what's happening in your life right now, and it helps you to figure out what you need to do to get past your feelings. Because I mean, if you work out of your feelings, sometimes you don't make the best decisions. At least that's been my experience for me. That when I let my feelings rule, chaos usually ensues right after that. I mean, that doesn't mean that you can't be loving and kind and that that's going to bring chaos, but for me, the problem is when I get angry or sad, that triggers me into anger and doing things out of like pure emotion that's not beneficial to me or anybody around me. So today I drew the Eight of Cups, and this card is subtitled Human Doing. It's a man standing in the city with the inner child on a conveyor belt, just in the midst of all of what tasks and things that need to be done. And it's it's really trying to tell you that all the things that you do are not who you are. Your identity needs to be made up of who you as a human. So be human, be present. My value isn't in what I do, the value is that I am. And in meditation, there's a mantra, a Sanskrit mantra that is aham that you repeat, which is I am. It's a question without you giving it an answer. When I sit in my meditative state, and this is how I do it every day. I don't know how other people do it, but this is what I do. I finally stopped doing guided meditations and listen to just Tibetan bowls and birds and like water and stuff. That's a nice little timer, and I sit in my meditation. And the first thing that I do is feel feel the air in the room, smell the smells of the house, hear the sounds that are going on around me, feel my connection to the chair that I'm sitting in, feel my feet on the ground. Am I hot? Am I cold? Scan my body all the way up and down to feel where energy might be stuck or pain might be. And I've been sending healing light to those areas that I know I need healing in. And especially to my gut area, I send a lot of love to that. I open up my chakras, and then I sit and I ask, who is meditating? Who am I? And then, well, first I say I am, and then I say who am I? Who is I? The I of I am, and I don't really let myself try to run down the road. I'm Michelle. I'm Michelle Flood. I'm Michelle McGaffis. I'm a realtor. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a girlfriend. I'm a friend. I'm an aunt. I don't do that because the thing that is inside is the thing that's the most important. The question is asked of our soul and the universe. I am, not my accomplishments. The notion that what I do defines me keeps me from noticing disconnect from other people, from myself, from spirit. So when you're busy trying to avoid or be caught up in the capitalistic society of being the best realtor and making a lot of money and being the best artist or being the best wife or being the best mom. You're not taking the time to enjoy what your life is and the people around you. And that comes not because we're not, I think that when we come in, we're programmed to be connected to spirit, to ourselves and to others. But we live in a society, and it sound like I know I sound just like a tree hugging hippie, but capitalism is doing nobody any good. And that our society tells us that we have to do certain things. You got to finish school, you got to go to college, you got to get a good job, you got to get married, you got to have babies, and then they got to repeat the cycle to make money and do those things. And that's, I don't, I think that it would be cool to know how many people that are in their 50s and approaching 60 or in their 60s and, and above get to that place, because I'm sure it must be not just me that goes, God damn, man, that's not what we came here for. We didn't come here to make money and buy shit. We came here for the experience of getting to know each other and and enjoying the beauty that is our planet and our surroundings, and being grateful for things that we have that maybe other people don't have. Yeah, it is a hamster wheel. It's a hamster wheel that of capitalism, that it's just programmed in us, and so programmed in us that we just don't, you know, we don't even notice that that's what we're doing. That we don't notice how disconnected we are from other people, and I didn't even notice it because when I when I got irritated with that lady earlier this week at the Walgreens that jumped the line, you know, what was the point of that? It didn't make me happy, it didn't make her happy, it didn't make people sitting around happy. It stressed out the people at Walgreens that were just trying to do their job 2 days before Christmas. We have lost our sense of community. Even when I was young, and I feel like, it was a while ago, 50 years ago, when I was growing up in St. Louis, the neighborhood was a neighborhood. We knew every fucking body on my street. I know the people on this side of me and that side of me, and that's all I know. And I've lived in this house for 10 years, 11 years. I don't know anybody else. And so we've lost that sense of connectedness and humanity with our neighbors. Back in St. Louis, when we were kids and there was a need in our neighborhood for somebody who didn't have, we knew families that didn't have. And I'm not talking, we didn't live in an affluent neighborhood. We were not rich by any stretch of the imagination, nor was anybody else on that block. My house was literally like 900 square feet that my mom and dad and 2 dogs lived in, and me. And up and down my street, it was Catholic people, German Catholic people that were very devout in their religion, and they had a bazillion kids. I was the only child on the street, and we had something like 100 kids that lived on that block of 60 houses. So when somebody had a need in our neighborhood, everybody got together and filled the basket and made sure that those people had what they needed so that they didn't go hungry. If somebody couldn't pay their electric bill, the neighborhood got together and made sure that those people had the money to pay the electric bill. If somebody didn't have money to pay for school clothes for somebody's kid, for their kid, we got together and we all pulled stuff out of our closets and gave the stuff to people. We don't know our neighbors, and so we don't know the humanity of other people. We can't identify with somebody's struggle because we're too busy being inside of ourselves, trying not to be that person that doesn't have, and working towards something and not even having any enjoyment doing it. So this card is about not being compulsive about doing things and actually being the human that you are and making connections that matter, not connections that can get you money and bitches. You know what I mean? That's really what it's about. So it's Christmas, and what a timely message that is, right? Because when you think about the story about Scrooge, he had lost his humanity. He had lost his humanity and only cared about financial success. He looked at his nephew and said, "You have nothing. What do you have to celebrate this Christmas? You don't even have any money. And you're going to have a party and invite people over that you can't even afford to pay for." And the kid was like, "I don't want all that stuff, Uncle. I want you to come and I want to love you and I want you to have dinner with us and I want you to be happy and joyous because I love you." That whole thing is what we should be striving for, is real connections with each other that aren't these superficial things that lets one little fucking thing come in and blow up the whole relationship because we're being selfish, because we're not caring about anyone but ourselves. I have, they don't, too bad. Or they have, why should they, let me go take it. If we forged relationships with each other and we gave a crap about how other people were getting along, and I mean like living, how are things? When was the last time you checked on a neighbor? When was the last time you let somebody cut in line for you in front of you? When was the last time you baked 100 cookies and gave some away? When was the last time you did any of those things and made people feel like they actually mattered? Little random acts of kindness would probably go a really long way in healing the wounds of our country right now. Seeing the humanity of people that aren't like us. Knowing that everybody is the same, no matter what they look like or how they identify. Don't be a cog in a wheel. Take a step back and think about the things you hear and decide for yourself, what am I doing? Am I programmed or am I living? What y'all talking about over here? Yes, the hamster wheel. Kat says, when I lived in New York, I knew all the kids. My parents knew every neighbor on the block. Mine too. I'd come home from school some days and my mom would be having coffee with neighbors, you know? When my girlfriend got hit by a car in second grade, all the moms were with that mother of that child and they were all cooking and they were all doing things for each other, you know? No one left that lady's side. And then later when that girl got older, this girl did so many crazy fucking things and had so much shit happen in such a short period of time of her life. She ran away for like 2 weeks and nobody stopped. The parents were all there, you know? And people knew what I was going through. Even my mom, as bad as she was you know, trying to help in the neighborhood as much as she could. But the neighbors in my neighborhood knew that my parents were not available to me all the time. And so they made themselves available to me and took me places and bought me things and treated me like I was one of their own kids. So much so that I still have relationships with people 50 years later up in Missouri when I haven't even been back but maybe 4 or 5 times over my lifetime since I moved to Florida in 1980. That's the shit I'm talking about. Forging really strong relationships because the people around us are the things that are precious, not what we can do for them, not all that baking that I did this week trying to make it the perfect Christmas. The message of this holiday is spending time with the humans that I love, not trying to impress the humans that I love with this gift that I got them or the cookies that I made or the honey baked ham or whatever it is. It's what's important is under the roof. The people, the lives. Maybe a little vodka. Merry Christmas, you guys.